but there were times I had to get him man to man.
And your favorite team that you guys love to face in your division?
Yours.
Yes, sir.
It's like the game like you play against the Raiders, you might get 3 sacks. When they had Jamarcus Russell, which I did. So I got 3 sacks on them in the first half, right?
Yeah.
And I'm ready, and they take Tommy Maddox.
Hello, welcome, good morning. Welcome to the West War Room Rivals Sunday pregame show. I'm joined by my other hosts of the War Room. Let's do a quick roll call. I don't think we've done this in a minute. So Shovix, kick us off.
Yep, I'm Austin, here representing Kansas City.
And I'm Corey, represent Broncos country.
Matt,
also representing first place Broncos country.
Caleb,
representing Bolt fan.
All right. And also, too, if you guys missed it on our preview show on Friday night, we introduced Caleb as our new War Room co-host. He will be repping the Chargers, and he is actually going to be at the game this morning, and he'll be out collabing and also interacting with a couple of Chargers, well, not a couple of Chargers fans, but Chargers alum and also some Tennessee Titan fans. So we'll see how that all goes. If you guys remember last week, Matt was in Denver with Jeff of JBW Solutions, and they handed out gift cards, and so Caleb's going over there to check out some action and also be a representative of the War Room. So, fellas, how we doing on this Sunday morning? We ready for some football?
A lot of good games slated today, so I'm hoping it's better than what we had to watch last week.
Yeah. All right, you guys are quiet this morning, so all right.
No.
Also, too, if anyone has seen on our Instagram yesterday, Matt celebrated a birthday. So, Matt, we hope that you had fun birthday festivities yesterday.
Oh, yeah, no, it was awesome. We took, there was like this little Jurassic Park themed event, and Aiden loves dinosaurs. So my wife and I, we took him there, and he had a great time. We all had a good time. So, yeah, forgive me. I'm a little tired. It kind of wore all of us out. So
I bet. All right, guys, I think no better time than now to kind of get started in the Week 9 pregame show here. So here we go. I've got my monologue I'm going to do right now. So it's Week 9 right now. So there's a lot of teams that are either in a midlife crisis or coming into midseason form. So across the league, it's been chaos, as what we talked about earlier this week. There were blowouts everywhere in Week 8. 12 out of the 13 games were decided by double digits, an averaging of almost 19 points per game. So it's not very much of some parity as what we were hoping for, but more or less of panic. Colts are quietly a 7-1 team that really no one's kind of talking about. There are some teams that are looking to prove themselves, like the Patriots, who sound like they're coming back from the dead of what they were last year, riding a 5-game winning streak and kicking it old school. They're running the ball, playing defense. They have no nonsense. And, of course, we saw the Dallas and Broncos game. The Cowboys offense was muted. Defense not so much as well. And so much so that their head coach told a reporter where he can shove the offensive statistics, and that was an interesting interview for you guys. So Jerry World is feeling the pressure, that is for sure. However, in the AFC West, of course, there's no lack of drama with our teams. We got the Broncos that are coming in hot. Chiefs are reminding people of who they are. Chargers are starting to show some life, and my Raiders are still looking for the GPS. So Denver is riding a 5-game win streak heading into Houston. Houston's defense is what we would call elite. Team itself is not so much. They're scrappy, so we'll see if the Texans really show who they are or if they fold under the pressure. And if Denver can play smart, running the ball, limiting turnovers, they might keep their win streak rolling. However, if they are smelling themselves too quickly, they might falter and get caught up in Week 9. Kansas City's heading over to Buffalo, where this rivalry has always been something to behold. Buffalo Bills have had the Chiefs number always in the regular season. However, when it matters the most, Mahomes and company have always come out on top. We'll see if this matchup bodes the same or if it's going to change. And if so, we'll see what that looks like for the Bills, and if the playoffs are going to run through Arrowhead or do they go around it. So Chargers heading into Tennessee this weekend. One of the more confusing teams. Are they hot? Are they not? They're going to see right now if they can get back on track on a 2-game winning streak following their Vikings win. And then my Raiders, 2-5, coming off of a bye week. We're going to see if we're actually going to put up a fight or if we're going to wave the white flag, because we don't wave banners for being a half-ass team, and that's how we've been playing this whole season. So here we go, guys. Week 9. So we're going to see at the halfway mark if we have pretenders or contenders as we dig in, and we'll see which of our teams have kicked their bad habits and which teams are starting to come alive. So with that being said, let's kick it off with our AFC West rundown. We're going to start off with our first game of the week. It is going to be the Chargers going to Tennessee. Caleb, what are your X factors for the game, and what do you think your keys to victory are for the Chargers?
Yeah, so my X factors for this game, on offense, my X factor is Joe Alt. We saw what happened last week with him back. I think getting another week under his belt after coming back from that ankle injury will be huge. And that mini bye week kind of helped a little bit too. So I'm excited to see what he does, and I think the way he plays determines how we play as a team. And then defensively, we're down Tarheeb Steele this week, one of our best corners. So Nico Reed, watch out for his name, because this preseason he balled out, played great. I think he is the X factor on defense this week, and kind of a sleeper pick. Great preseason, ton of upside. He'll be great in the defensive backfield. But and then my keys to the game, I have keep Justin Herbert clean, man. I think that is the main key to this game. Jeffrey Simmons is out, Arden Key's out, and I think that's massive for Justin Herbert this week. And then also force 3 and outs on the defensive side of the ball. We saw what happened when we played at the Giants. They kept converting third downs over and over and over to a rookie quarterback, ironically. And I think that's a huge aspect of the game this week.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think a couple of X factors I'm looking at. I'm going to go offensive specifically. I think I'm looking for that run game. If that run game can continue to build offense in that, creating play action. Now that you guys have that rookie tight end that's kind of been more involved in your passing game, to really kind of open up the playbook a little bit. And also too, knowing that it's kind of a lesser team, not disrespecting the Titans in any way. They're going through for sure a rebuild, having Cam Ward as their kind of franchise guy, but they're not quite there yet. However, with having Vidal there to kind of carry the load until Hampton gets back, kind of towards the last leg of the season when you guys really need him, when we're going against AFC West opponents such as the Chiefs, the Broncos. I mean, I'm not saying that the Raiders are going to roll over, but I mean, they have a weak run game defense. So, getting Vidal touches to where it gets Amari and Hampton some time to continue to recover from I think he had a high ankle sprain, if I'm not mistaken. But then on the defensive side, I'm looking at Khalil Mack. I'm looking at him. I'm looking at Healy. If they're going to be able to attack Cam Ward, because that offensive line is decimated and they couldn't keep anything upright. And I feel like Cam's going to be on the run. He doesn't have the great weapons to really kind of throw the ball to make the defense pay for blitzing. So I look for the defensive side. I'm looking at Healy and Mack to be really effective in all the offensive side. Vidal, I think, in that run game, I think there's some X factors I'd look for. And keys to victory, pretty plain and simple, just like what you had said, Caleb. It's about that defense. It's about that offense. Really, as long as you respect the Titans and you don't think that, you have an easy up on them, because, we'll go back to last week when the Falcons kind of blew a game against the Dolphins, who by all accounts are the lesser team. Now, I don't think Harbaugh is going to get these guys to fall asleep at the wheel, so to speak, but I do think that the Chargers coming in, they've got their work cut out for them, but if they take care of business, it should be an easy win and almost chalk it up to continuing your mini bye week heading into going. I think your guys' next game is against the Raiders on Thursday night, so definitely want to make sure that you guys get out of this game clean.
Broncos are playing the Raiders Thursday night, buddy.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. I don't know why I thought Chargers. Oh, well, whoever it is.
Yeah, in your head, you're thinking, as a Raiders fan, you're thinking, I get it.
Yeah. Although we got it either way, so it's good.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's head over to I think what we had to dub the second game of the week, which would be the Broncos and the Texans elite defense. So, Matt, I kind of want you to kick us off with what are your X factors for the game and keys to victory for the Broncos over the Texans.
Well, right now it's going to be the Broncos front seven getting to CJ Stroud. Here's the thing. The Texans have given up 15 sacks through their last 6 games. Broncos defense is leading the league in sacks right now. So getting to Stroud, getting him rattled, making him uncomfortable, even if he gets the ball off and they don't get the sack, if they can force him to make a throw early or check down and whatnot, if they can kind of like get in his head and keep him from wanting to air it out to Nico Collins, who is healthy and will be on the game. As far as I know, he's going to be playing. But just containing Stroud, not letting him be comfortable. If Stroud has time to sit back in the pocket and go through all of his progressions, it's going to be a long game. It's going to be a tough game either way, but getting to Stroud is going to be the X factor there. So that Broncos front seven is my X factor. Key to victory on the other side of the ball is kind of like how Caleb said, keep Herbert clean, keep Nix clean. I need Nix to be well protected because the Texans pass rush is no joke. Again, they're the number 1 defense in the league. They're doing extremely well. Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, and then you have Derek Stingley in the secondary, who is one of the top corners in the league. But I need Bo Nix to be protected, and I need him to, like he was last week, stay calm in the pocket, poised, let the play develop, go through your reads, and just be smart with the ball. He did a very good job taking care of that turnover. I think he was just trying to show off. There was obviously a miscommunication there, but take care of the ball, keep Nix clean, and just play smart.
Yeah, and for me, it's going to be we talked Friday night about Evan Ingram and Troy Franklin. So I expect one of those guys, whoever Lassiter's on. Matt had mentioned Derek Stingley. Derek Stingley is obviously one of the better corners in the NFL, and I imagine they're going to have him on Sutton. And I do still like that matchup just based on Sutton's size. But I think a huge X factor here is going to be sticking with that run game. Matt and I talk each week about get J.K. Dobbins 15-plus touches. Well, now you can add, I think, RJ Harvey into that mix. So get that run game going. Stick with the run game because I get it. This number 1 defense, you can see they're giving up 88 on the ground. But I think Denver can, really expose that going to the game. And then, defensively, I'm looking at Dre Greenlaw being back to see how Vance Joseph, uses him as far as being aggressive. Do they stay aggressive on the defensive side? Because I think you can chalk CJ Stroud up to similarities with Dak Prescott. If he gets pressured, stealing a couple possessions, just having him, make those errant throws or holding on to the ball too long and getting those strip sacks with Benito and Cooper. And even, Zach Allen and those guys up front. I've been really impressed with how Malcolm Roach and Jones have been playing the last couple of weeks with, in the interior. So, again, I really need to see that defense steal a couple possessions to help Denver get that chance. And then the keys to victory is Bo not taking stupid sacks, staying in the pocket, staying clean, not being afraid to use his legs when he needs to. I still think he's going to have to use his legs at times in order to keep this game on the Broncos side and taking those boneheaded sacks behind the chains. We're not a very good team when we start behind the sticks, right? So staying ahead of the chains, staying in plus territory, and staying clean as far as the turnover battle goes. No stupid turnovers, Bo. Look at your receivers when you throw the damn ball.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting game as we see it on the screen right now. We have the number 5th ranked defense in the Broncos heading into Houston playing the number 1 ranked defense, and the Broncos being a top 10 offense. It's definitely going to be a clash of the Titans, to say the least. So we're going to move over now into continuing in the AFC West. We're going to move over to my Las Vegas Raiders. We're going to be playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. As you can see, we're coming off of a bye week. I am wearing the homage shirt of Victory Monday because I'm manifesting the Raiders victory over the Jaguars. Yeah, not the Broncos. Sorry. Get over that.
Manifest that one too.
Anyway, so I know that after the bye week, the Raiders have done a lot of soul searching, a lot of rumors on, assets they're going to let go. Obviously, we are still a week out before the trade deadline. So after this game, we could see a lot of movement from the Raiders. Maybe the Raiders acquire. Who knows what the NFL is going to look like post trade deadline. I feel like a lot of teams are going to make a lot of moves, and if the Raiders falter in this game, probably a lot of phone calls will be had, and a lot of players are probably going to be dealt. I think one of the things that I'm looking forward to is seeing how this offense is going to look, and that's part of my keys to victory here is going to be Geno Smith. What kind of Geno Smith is going to roll into Sunday playing Jacksonville? Is it going to be the Geno Smith that's too afraid to throw the ball 10 yards down the field? Or is it going to be the one that is, giving possessions to Jacksonville by throwing costly interceptions? I don't mind challenging the defense because you got to keep them honest. You can't be one-dimensional. And by being one-dimensional, you can't then also play into their hands by not stretching the field and actually making them worry about playing down the field. So I want Geno Smith to still play with some confidence and be accurate, which is how he played in Seattle. Now, that turn being, though, with having Brock Bowers back, we also need that run game to really start setting the tone. When we get Ashton Genty going and we get the tight ends involved for Mayer or Bowers, I feel like our offense has another layer, and it kind of makes things a little bit easier for Geno, and we can move down the field. That is a couple of keys to victory. It's not necessarily the defense, because if the defense can obviously stay off the field, we can't have them be on there for 12-play drives, 15-play drives. Defense isn't built for that. They are a team that needs to get off the field on third down and not give up extra possessions when the offense kind of turns the ball over. So that would be my keys to victory. And a couple of X factors here would be Ashton Genty and Geno Smith, those two. More specifically, Geno Smith. Because, again, if he can get the ball down the field, if he can orchestrate the offense, the Raiders should be able to hang in this game and maybe come out with a victory depending on how they take care of the football. However, if he is a turnover machine, the Raiders will lose. We do not win turnover battles. We aren't going to be able to keep the defense off the field and fresh. They're going to just get ragged because this Jaguars offense will make you pay. They've got a run game that can run all over you. They've got Brian Thomas Jr., who we really don't have a lockdown corner that can really contain him. And Travis Etienne is somebody who makes me very nervous as he's a very versatile back. That's a player that always beats up on the Raiders just because the Raiders don't have an answer at linebacker or at corner to really be able to counter that. So that would be my X factor and my keys to victory. Austin, what do the Raiders have to do for victory? I know that's going to be a fun answer for you to give. And then who's your X factors for this game?
Yeah, I think my X factors for this game, and for me, it really comes down to one person, and it's not even a player. I need to see Chip Kelly just be better. I want to see, coming out of the bye week, change things up a little bit. What you've always done and had success at Oregon or Ohio State and never in the NFL. The best coordinators call plays and call games to their player strengths, to what you have. Don't make them adapt to you. I want to see him coming out of the bye week, trying to utilize what the Raiders have offensively. Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers, and a weak offensive line. Let's be honest, it's a weak offensive line. There is game plans and plays that you can call to not let that get exposed. So honestly, I think if Chip Kelly calls a decent game, gets him in a nice rhythm, I think they have a legitimate chance of winning. So that's why it's my X factor. The keys to victory, I think it's pretty simple. For me, it's your linebackers. I think the Raiders can easily win this game if they actually just contain ETN and Trevor Lawrence out of the pocket. If you turn him into a pocket passer, Max is going to have a nice time, but that's not even where Lawrence is at his best. He likes being on the move. He likes kind of extending plays and doing it that way. So if your linebackers can contain ETN and they can kind of limit Lawrence's rushing, I think the Raiders, I don't want to say easily win, but I think they stay competitive and make a ball game out of it if their linebackers show up.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens today when they match up. Believe me, I'm hoping for the best because 3-5 would feel a lot different than 2-6. So we'll find out after the week 9 matchup. But we're going to now move on to probably the AFC matchup of the week now with the Bills and the Chiefs. Chiefs are heading into Buffalo to play the Buffalo Bills. And just as history has repeated itself, Chiefs seem to always falter in the regular season, but when it matters the most in the postseason, the Bills seem to always fall a little bit short. So, Austin, I know that you gave my Raiders their keys to victory and their X factor, but I want to know from you, with your Chiefs, what do they need to do to maybe take a victory in the regular season over Buffalo, and who's your X factors for this game?
Yeah, I think the X factors for this game for Kansas City, it's going to be kind of similar. I think it's going to be general the front seven for Kansas City's defense. I don't want to say you're not scared of their passing attack just because when these teams meet up, Gabe Davis had a coming out party. You kind of always thought he was good, had a coming out party. Was that going to be the same for Keon Coleman? Who knows? But right now on paper, if you can contain their run game with James Cook, limit his receiving, and then not let Josh Allen beat you with his legs, you have a really good shot. So it's more than just containing, right? It's being smart with your pass rush. Rush integrity. Do we use even a safety, like a hybrid safety, to QB spy Josh in crucial moments? We haven't really done that very well since we lost Willie Gay. I'm curious to see if we tip our hand yet, or if we do what the Chiefs usually do and save that for the playoffs. So I don't know if we'll see that this afternoon or not, but I'm just curious on that. So I think it'll come down to their front seven as far as X factors go. And then the keys to Chiefs victory, I was going to stick it with something along the lines of containing James Cook again, but I think if the Chiefs can actually just do long drives offensively, especially to start the game, if they can kind of set the tone early, have a kind of time-consuming, I'd like to say run it down your throat, but we know Andy Reid doesn't do that. So more if it's just quick passing attack and just, death by 1,000 cuts to kind of set the tone and kind of will the life out of that stadium early. I think that's how the Chiefs get to victory, because if we come out and we try to show off and we try to just do 3 quick 60-yard passes all in complete plan, okay, that's not cool. Let's come out, let's set the tone, let's just have that will bending just drive, set the tone, and then I think we control the game from there. It's kind of what you've said throughout some shows, that the Chiefs thing is they like to come out, get a lead, and make teams play to their strengths. Well, that's kind of how they need to do this one. So those are my X factors and keys to victory for the Chiefs.
Okay, Matt, what are your X factors and keys to victory for the Chiefs, or are they going to falter to Buffalo?
So for me, it's getting to Josh Allen. And the reason I say that is, one, he's a very hard quarterback to bring down just because of his size. And he can run. He can run up the middle. He can run out the side. He's such a versatile QB. So one, it's going to be containing Josh and just, to Austin's point, sucking the life out of that stadium, because if they build their momentum off of the fans. If that fan base is loud, they're getting inside Mahomes' head. They're getting inside Kelsey's head. They're getting inside everyone's head. The fans do have an impact on the game. So if they can kind of make big plays against Josh Allen and rattle him, and the life gets sucked out of that stadium, Buffalo's going to look like Arrowhead. So the main thing is getting to Josh Allen, and James Cook's best runs come up the middle. So that interior line is going to have to hold fast, because like Josh Allen is a tough quarterback to bring down, James Cook is an elusive back. He's hard to bring down. I think he's got one of the highest missed tackle rates in the league right now. So George Karlaftis, Leo Chanel, Chris Jones, everyone's going to have to be on their A game. If you make contact with him, bring him down. Do not let him get, so limiting those big chunk plays. Don't let him have a 200-yard game. So my X factors are going to be, again, also the linebacking core for the Chiefs. And keys to victory is getting to Josh Allen. Don't give him room to breathe.
All right. It's interesting, too, because as we're looking at the head-to-head comparison, we see the Chiefs are in the top 5 in both defense and offense. Bills are 3rd in offense, however, ranked 12th. I think a couple of things the Chiefs are going to exploit is their run defense. If we look here, they're giving up 150 yards, the Bills are. And I feel like with how the Chiefs like to run their offense, that could be something that they exploit this Sunday as well. So, all right, guys, that is – go ahead.
I'm going to say just one thing real quick. It's Brashard Smith's game. Watch.
Oh, yeah.
I do.
With Pacheco out, Brashard Smith.
Yep, and actually that's actually a little bit of some foreshadowing for our fantasy segment coming up. But however, before we get to that, we are going to head over into our league recon. So we've got some notes here for other game matchups for today's game. One of them being that JJ McCarthy is returning to the Vikings starting quarterback position. They are playing the Vikings. Caleb, who needs this victory more? Do the Lions need this victory more, or are the Vikings more desperate for this win?
I personally think the Vikings are. The Lions, I don't see them losing this division. I know Green Bay's kind of picking it back up. They're right there. But I think the Vikings need one, man, bad, especially with JJ coming back. They've looked really bad the past couple of weeks. I think the Lions are just absolutely desperate. Or Vikings, I apologize.
Vikings. Okay. Corey, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I want to see how JJ McCarthy comes off of an injury. There, obviously we all know what happened to the Vikings last time they were out. The Chargers obviously handed it to him, a little belt action. So I need to see how he's got two really good receivers, and he's got to get back on track and use these guys. And it's going to be really hard because I think the Lions are one of the better teams in the NFC. So I would still say it's the Vikings for sure needing this win.
Austin?
Yeah, I mean, Vikings by far are more desperate. They're the ones that have already kind of fallen behind the rest of the, division and NFC, even for wild cards. So I think they're more desperate. I do think JJ McCarthy coming back, they will look better. I just don't know if it'll be against the Lions. So I think JJ coming back is big for them. Just may not see it this week.
Matt?
Yeah, same. I think having JJ back, might spark a little bit more life in them. I think they're happy with JJ. So this is going to be a more desperate win for the Vikings, just so they can, they're hanging on by a thread, but so if they want to stay in, this is a win for them.
I think I'm gonna agree to the point that the Vikings are more desperate, but if I'm being honest, I think the Lions kind of need this victory more than the Vikings, because if they're going to keep up with Green Bay, they can't afford to be 2 games behind, and Green Bay obviously winning their first head-to-head matchup. So at best, they're just going to tie. I think if they want to keep up with the NFC North contending part, especially Green Bay, their schedule is a bit favorable for Green Bay. So Lions need to take care of business. I feel like this is a much more needed win. I don't want to say desperate. Like, the Vikings definitely need this win more, but I think the Lions are a team today that need this victory just to keep pace with Green Bay, to maybe make up ground, or at least get in close, or who knows, maybe even clinch a top wild card spot, because you never know with the rest of the NFC how it's going to play out, and you don't want to lose a game to the Vikings, who probably aren't going to be in a wild card, but that might take you out of the wild card at this point in the season. So, all right, moving on to the next matchup, Bears and the Bengals. So, Corey, who needs this win more, Bears or Bengals?
Yeah, so you look at it, these two teams are kind of in similar positions. You look at the Bears, obviously the North. So, are the Bears good or are they not? They've been kind of up and down. The Caleb Williams roller coaster continues. And then you look at the Bengals and they're not too far behind. Pittsburgh's obviously kind of leveling off a little bit, but now you got the Ravens, who are starting to maybe figure it out. As we discussed Friday night, it was more of maybe who they were playing at the time. But I'm going to go the Bengals just because that division's still there, whereas I don't think the division's going to be there for the Bears. And I don't see them getting into that playoff position with the Packers and Lions. But the Bengals, you're still right there with Pittsburgh, Baltimore. You just got to hold on for a few more weeks, and then maybe, just maybe, you can get the other Joe back and see what he can do. Flacco's a little beat up, so I'm intrigued to see how this is going to go.
Matt, who do you think needs this one more?
I mean, it's hard to separate these two teams, to be honest, but I'm going to go with the Bears just because, again, the Lions are looking for their win to stay in the race. The Packers are kind of pulling ahead. If the Bears want to stay in this race too, they're going to need to win here as well. Yeah, the Bengals could definitely use the win, especially after that embarrassing loss to the Jets last week. But I think if the Bears, for them, again, because now this is the week where we're going to start talking about playoffs here pretty soon, and the Bears are still in the running. So I think they need the win.
I'm going to say it's the Bengals as well, because if Joe Flacco doesn't come out and get a victory for the Bengals, there seems to be no urgency to have Joe Burrow come back healthy to maybe on the last stretch of the season in December when he might be coming back to then play. Like if the Bengals can't get a victory this Sunday or this morning, then I don't know if they're even going to be able to fight for another wild card spot. We just talked about on Friday how the Ravens are kind of now starting to heat up a little bit. Their schedule kind of favors them, and they're kind of getting healthy at the right time. Steelers are kind of falling a little bit. Really, we don't know what the Bengals are going to be, and if they can't take care of business, then they're going to be right down there at the bottom of the division with the Browns. And if that's the case, then what's the urgency to bring back Joe Burrow if he's not fully healthy and you're going to risk injury to not get a playoff seed? So I'm going to say Bengals on this one. Caleb, who do you think on this matchup?
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a fantastic question because they both are right in the running, or not really in the running, but kind of the same level, I guess. But I think it's the Bengals, man, and probably for a different reason than everyone else. The trade deadline's coming up, and I could see Trey Hendrickson getting moved depending on this game, just from the money side of things and how he's liking it there. So I think that's the Bengals for me is easily the most desperate.
Got it. Austin?
And to counter that real
go ahead,
quick.
Corey.
It's not just Hendrick. Like they have Logan Wilson who's requested. They have guys who are now just starting to pop up requesting trades. So that's a very interesting thing that you bring up as far as, hey man, one loss here and that kind of does that set everything else off.
Mm-hmm.
And they really are kind of like what Caleb said. They're kind of similar when you think about it. I mean, they both really do need this win, but I'm going to go from a different angle as well. I think desperately the Bengals need a win, and no other than I think their head coach is more desperate to try to save their job. Ben Johnson, no matter how the rest of this year goes, he knows he's coming back next year. He's not going to be out. Zach Taylor, however, I mean, I still think even if they win this game and however the rest of the season plays out, he's likely not coming back. But I think if you get 2 down in the hole, like you said, you don't bring Burrow back, now your season really is lost. Well, now your job is lost. So if they can win this game, hang on until the other Joe comes back, he might be able to save his job at that point. So I think just from like the head coaching perspective, Zach Taylor and the Bengals are a little more desperate for this as far as just saving your job.
All right, guys, that's it for League Recon. We're going to move on now to our segment, Fantasy Football Frenzy, sponsored by JBW Solutions, LLC. Shout out to Jeff and the crew. Visit jbwsolutionsllc.com to get compliant on all OSHA safety compliance. They are veteran-owned, community-driven, safety-focused. So this is our sleepers and our busts for our fantasy football week. So, Matt, who is your sleeper and who is your bust for this fantasy football week?
For me, I'm going to go Bam Knight with Arizona. And the reason I say that is if you look at his last couple weeks, he's gotten way more touches. He's averaging like 17 touches a game. And he's also getting that heavy payload on the goal line. I want to say he scored 2 or 3 of his touchdowns from the goal line. So they're really calling on him there. So Bam Knight from the Arizona Cardinals is going to be my sleeper. My bust, I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, is going to be Dalton Schultz from the Texans. If you look at his numbers, he's only got, like, in this last 6 or 7 games, less than 40 yards receiving and in those games. And, before the bye, he had 2 receptions for 24 yards, and that's a career low for him. So he's not getting involved in that Houston offense. But I'm going to knock on wood because as I say that, watch him come out the gate swinging. So I'm knocking on wood, but Dalton Schultz not getting involved in the offense. I'm going with him as my bust.
Got it. Caleb, who's your sleeper and bust for this fantasy football week?
Yeah, so my sleeper is actually a Charger, a Rondé Gadsden.
Okay.
These past couple weeks, he's really picked up the volume. And then this week, he's only projected to score like 11 points. I definitely expect him to score more than 11 points. My bust for this week, I will definitely get hate for this, is Christian McCaffrey. He is expected to score 26 fantasy points against the Giants. That's pretty high number there. And then they also, they have Mac Jones starting this week. He probably will get the volume, but that's just a high number for me to roll with.
That's a good one. Wow. Way to go for your first fantasy frenzy pool there with Christian McCaffrey. There was another co-host on here that picked Christian McCaffrey a couple weeks ago.
I got a lot more hate for it than what we're giving Caleb. What's going on?
I just love
to ask you, like,
I was a little offended because the moment I said Christian McCaffrey, I almost lost my job on the show.
because it was more like, how does that make you feel knowing that he comes out swinging like that right away?
I love it, and he's probably thinking the same. Like even when I said Demar Hicks, you're not going to not start the person,
right?
Exactly.
Like, maybe just temper your expectations a little. Yes. Like by no means is Caleb saying don't start Christian McCaffrey.
Yes.
He's just saying it's unlikely he's going to get to that level because that is steep. Like that's a lot.
That is a
like
lot.
I don't care who the matchup is. That's a lot. So I love it. Way to go, Caleb. I'm glad to know somebody else comes out swinging for the fences on this.
All right, Austin, why didn't you pick it up on your sleeper and bust then?
All right, my sleeper is going to be Michael Wilson.
Okay.
No other reason than they're playing the Cowboys. I think that's really all the analysis I need to give on that. Honestly, I think Trey McBride will have his game. Marvin will do his thing, but they do like to take some shots to Michael Wilson. And I think every shot that they take for Michael Wilson against the Cowboys will hit. That's how bad they are. My bust, again, I'm not saying don't start the guy, but my bust is going to be James Cook. Chiefs have played really well against running backs. They have a really well tackling team. So as long as they keep that up, I think it's going to be really hard for James Cook to get, almost upper teens to the low 20s that I've seen him projected across leagues. He's obviously going to get volume. You're obviously going to start him. But again, probably temper expectations a little bit because so far this year, Chiefs have done really well against running backs.
Corey?
Yeah, I was sitting here just debating if I wanted to change up who my sleeper was going to be, but I'm not because he's obviously been mine and Matt's guy from day one when we knew he was coming in the drafts. Rashad Smith's sleeper. I do think this is the week that they're going to be able to. We talked earlier about, hey, those quick games, right? Like, quick game. But I think they actually let him actually run the ball a little bit more this week. So I like Rashad Smith. One of these times when I pick him, it's going to work. Okay. But just picture him in a Broncos uniform with Sean Payton, who loves to do the swing passes. Anyways, and then for my bust, it's going to be Evan Ingram. I don't want to say it, but at the same time, he's too inconsistent this year. Unfortunately, I'm still going to have to play him in a couple of my spots. If you can get by with not having Evan Ingram in, I think you'd be okay if you could, swing it for a different person. So similar to what Matt said, this is probably the game that Sean's going to get him kind of involved. And I know we said Friday he would be an X factor. I just think this Texans defense will kind of get him under control.
Yeah. All right. So my sleeper this week is going to be Alec Pierce of the Colts. I feel like the matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers is going to be a favorable one. Indiana Jones, who's been kind of throwing the ball all over. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor. The Steelers are going to have their work cut out for them, but I do feel like that Alex Pierce is going to be a really big game for him, especially how he likes to stretch the field. And I feel like he's just going to be a fantasy juggernaut this week. My bust of the week is going to be CJ Stroud. I'm really concerned with the pressure that he's going to face against the Denver Broncos. He's going to have Nico Collins. He's going to have the rookie wide receivers that he's had. They were more involved last week. However, this Broncos front really concerns me. The offensive line for the Texans really concerns me. So if you're somebody that's starting CJ Stroud, I would be very worried about maybe just getting within double digits, but not 20 plus like what some teams need quarterbacks to produce. I'd be surprised if CJ Stroud has any sort of relevant fantasy game this week. So CJ Stroud would be my bust of the week. So
I love that.
Actually, ironically, you took my two other picks. So luckily I had some others in the chamber there, Corey. So I had to pivot real quick, but it's all good. Okay, moving on. So we have got our safe or not safe. So again, JBW Solutions, who is all about safety and compliance. We've got some teams that we're going to talk about if they are safe or not for this week 9 matchup. So I'm going to kick it off with Caleb. Caleb, are the Cowboys safe this week or are they not? Which one?
I think they are. Jacoby Brissett is playing for the Cardinals this week. I think the Cowboys pull it out because they can score some points. It'll actually be a tough battle on their offense, I still think they'll outscore the Cardinals. Personally.
All right, Matt.
I'm going to take the Bears over the Bengals. I think that's safe to go with the Bears. I don't know. I've been high on the Bears ever since they got Ben Johnson. Caleb Williams definitely looks better now than he did a season ago. So I'm going to go with the Bears.
Austin.
Yeah, are we doing Cowboys, Bears, or whoever we want?
Let's do whoever you want, I'd say.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually you're going to like this, Cody, and it's going to hurt me to say this. But I think this week for my safe, I think the Raiders are the safe. Mostly because at some point I do expect to see Pete Carroll and his mark being made on this team. And I think it will be coming out of a bye week. And Jaguars are okay, but they're not a team that anyone should be worried about. And so I just think Pete Carroll, you're going to start seeing its impact on the team.
Corey?
I'm still kind of damn, Cody, you got to make sure you clip that.
This is going all over the platforms, man.
That's what I'm saying. But he also all preseason he was a Raiders fan, so
yeah,
Carroll fan. I'm a Pete Carroll fan.
A little bit of a difference, but
you look good in black. You can wear the silver and black.
I mean, I do look good in black, but
but no, this one's kind of tough for me. I want to sit here and say that I think the Bears can do it, but I don't. They're just so inconsistent for me. So I'm going to say the Bears aren't safe. I think with them, I don't know. It's so hard with Caleb Williams sometimes. It's what are you going to get from Caleb Williams? Are you going to get the guy who could easily throw for 250? He's making those extended plays, or are you going to get the Caleb Williams that takes 20-yard sacks that throws into wherever he's trying to throw the double coverages? So I don't think the Bears are safe this week.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Seahawks. I think they're a safe one, only because their defense is really good. Their offense is kind of coming into form. They've got a dynamic duo in the run game with Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet. So I think that the Seahawks are a team with whoever they play against. And I think this week, specifically in week 9, we can see them really come out and separate themselves to be an NFC wildcard or maybe even contend for the NFC West for sure. So I'm going to go with the Seahawks, and it does help that the Commanders still aren't fully healthy. So I think the Seahawks are a safe one for today's matchup. So, all right, moving on to our fan questions. So shout out to Red Kingdom. He asked us a question and we were going to answer it for him. So his question to us on X was, if you could make a current all AFC West team of players today, which positions would you have for quarterback, receiver, 3 receivers, a running back, and a tight end? So, Caleb, you have the quarterback. So, who are we drafting as our quarterback in today's AFC West?
So, really, I think the AFC West at quarterback is easily the best division right now, in my opinion. You got Patty Mahomes, Jay Herbo, and then Bo Nix. Y'all are going to hate me for this. I got to go with my guy at the moment. Now, if we're talking overall, I got to go with Patrick Mahomes. But right now, I got to go with Justin Herbert.
All right, I dig it.
Earlier. We had a text. We have text proof out there,
Yeah, we have proof that you were taking Geno.
I love my guy Geno, but we can't afford another interception, so maybe not on this team. maybe we'll do the third team. All right. So I've got the only running back position here in the division. A lot to choose from, a lot of great running backs, but I have a feeling this is the only time I'm going to get one of these players on this team. So I'm going to go with Ashton Genty for the running back. I feel like he would be a guy that we could put in there, and he's going to run all over everybody. As long as we have a good offensive line, he's been known to just truck all over people. And I'm sure Austin really loves the Michael Myers stance right before he goes and truck sticks somebody. So I would go with Ashton Genty for our running back.
Yeah.
And then Austin, you have the first receiver.
Real quick, even though, could you imagine an offensive line of Josh Simmons, the Belly, Trey Smith, Creed Humphrey. Gentee would be just fine if we were doing an all AFC West.
And then if Joe Alt was at right tackle.
Yeah.
Golly.
Bro. Yeah. Sorry, it's just me kind of taking that off and just like, oh, damn, what if he did have this offensive line? Ooh.
And we haven't even talked about the defensive side either.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
We're just talking offensive teams here. Receiver, this division's actually kind of weird at receiver. I don't feel like there's like a true alpha male. But I feel like there's a bunch of good receivers. Like even on the Raiders, I think Tucker and Jacoby Myers are quality receivers. Denver has, Franklin, Mims, Sutton. Chargers with Ladd, Johnston, Keenan, Chiefs, Worthy, Rice, my boy Thornton. But I still think the one who has the most alpha male in him is Rashee Rice. So that if I have to pick one receiver, when healthy and not in legal issues, I still think I would as a receiver.
A lot of contingencies on that one.
Big asterisks for that one.
Corey, you got second receiver.
Yeah, it should have been Keenan Allen. That's who he should have said. Keenan Allen's going to be on there. He's the sure hand guy. We've seen Justin Herbert and what he's able to do with Keenan Allen. Yeah, if I need that, 7 to 10 yards, I know for sure he's going to be that guy. So give me Keenan Allen. And sorry, Caleb, if I stole that from anybody.
It's a good pick, Matt.
For me, I'm gonna go with our guy Cortland Sutton, because I think right now in the red zone he's the highest targeted receiver. I think he's second or third in red zone touchdowns. So give me Cortland Sutton for those red zone moments.
Can you imagine that? I feel like we built a good. You have Keenan and Sutton on the outside with Rashee in the slot, kind of where he does bet. Like, C West could put a team together.
Oh yeah. And we haven't even picked the tight end. I think that's for all of us to pick. So I have a tight end in mind, but I don't think this season really kind of vouches my point for it. But I'm actually curious. I think maybe just a quick roundtable of who you guys think would be a good tight end fit. So Caleb, if we had to select a tight end for this position, who do you think in the AFC West would fit?
So going into the draft, I was a massive Brock Bowers guy. So when healthy, I think it's Brock Bowers personally. But at this very moment, I have to go with Oronde Gadsden. So either of those two, if we're talking right this very moment, but yeah,
I dig it. Corey,
too much homer picks from that guy.
Well, at that rate, I'm going Mercedes Lewis.
Gotta have one who can block.
No, it's still 80. It's still 87 for me.
Okay.
Look, man, we keep talking about the downfall of Travis Kelce for some reason. I know people want to see him fail. I don't understand. I'm not really on that mindset. I love his attitude. I love what he brings to the team. Give me 87.
Austin?
Yeah, for me, I think I'm actually confused. I thought this was going to be a clean sweep. There's no way you're not taking Brock Bowers. Like, I'm going to just contend, like, this is on full health. Like, everyone's healthy. You don't have to think about them on their current team. Kind of brings some people down in Las Vegas, but there's no better tight end in football than Brock Bowers.
Yeah, so when we kicked this off, I was initially wanting to say Brock Bowers, and again, it's all health. He's coming back healthy today, so we'll see how he looks. But even in his rookie year, he looked like he was probably jockeying for top 2, and I think the only one that was probably above him at the moment was you can interchange maybe Kittle to Laporta to, whoever else. And if it wasn't Bowers, I would say Travis Kelce would have been a great second. But if healthy, we're picking the tight end that we think is going to catapult this offense with the weapons that we have, Patrick Mahomes and all the complementary pieces around. I think Brock Bowers would fit this squad too. But Matt, you've got the last say in it. So who's the tight end you think would work for this team?
I got to go with Brock Bowers. I mean, I think that, Herbo throwing a Brock Bowers, that'd be a great connection. I'd love to see that. I think with him being healthy and his youth and his size and the plays that he's able to make, I got to go with Herbo to Bowers, man.
We know who would get the best pass interference on Patrick Surtain, just shoving him square in the back for a touchdown.
It was a clean catch. There was no
and
push off.
It was actually on PJ Locke. It wasn't on Surtain. It was on PJ Locke.
Oh, okay. Either way.
There was no call. It never happened. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Let's move on. All right, guys, we're just about ready to close out the show. We're going to move on now to our AFC West predictions now, right before we get you guys ready for kickoff Sunday. So let's go with Corey. We're going to kick it off with let's go with the Chargers and the Titans. Who you have in this matchup?
Chargers.
Okay, Austin.
Yeah, Chargers.
Caleb.
Chargers.
Oh man, I really thought you were going with Tennessee on that one. All right, Matt.
Chargers.
All right, I think clean sweep. We're going Chargers. All right, we're going with the Raiders at this point. I'm going. You know what? Raiders. I have the shirt. Might as well pick them. Matt, who you got in this matchup?
I've been back and forth all day. You know what? I'm gonna go Raiders. I'm gonna go Raiders
All
at
right.
home.
Let's go, Caleb.
I'll go Jags.
All right, you're still my friend. It's okay. Corey.
I'm gonna go Jacksonville as well.
Okay, maybe you can't be my friend. All right, Austin.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Raiders.
There we go. All right.
Hey.
We almost got a split on that one. So, all right, moving on to the second best game of the week. We've got the Texans at the Broncos. Caleb, who you have in this matchup?
I've got the Broncos.
Got the Broncos.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
Austin, who do you have in this matchup?
Yeah, it's the Broncos.
Corey.
We're not scared of anybody anymore, so we're going Denver.
Okay. I don't know. That was a little apprehension there. Matt.
I'm also going Denver.
All right, this is a trap game because I'm also going Denver as well. I like your all defense and that front. So we'll see. Final game of this AFC West predictions. We've got the Bills and the Chiefs matchup. Austin, who you got?
Yeah, I got the Chiefs.
Corey.
Give me Buffalo. Matt Prater hits game-winning field goal.
Woo! Matt.
Give me the Bills. Just give me the Bills.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I feel like that they've got to get one in the regular season. Caleb, you've got the final AFC West pick of the morning. Who do you got?
I'm going to go Chiefs too.
All right. So we've got 2 Buffalo rest Chiefs. Is that right? Did I get that right? All right. All right, guys. Well, it's time to get you guys going to your Sunday kickoff games. We want to give a special shout out to Emporia State Federal Credit Union for sponsoring the War Room. Also, Field Ops, Troy and the team over at Field Ops Kansas. Thank you guys so much for your support. JBW Solutions, Jeff, thank you so much for your support as we are recording out of the JBW Solutions studio. We want to give a special shout out to also Homage, Badger Barrel, Shanky Golf, Beard Club. I think Spy at one point we were giving shout outs to, so I might as well throw a shout out over there. So am I missing anybody, guys?
I don't think so, actually. You're getting it down, dude.
Only takes practice, y'all.
Only
All
takes
right, guys. Have a great Sunday morning. Enjoy your games. You'll be seeing us post all Sunday morning. And Caleb, have a great time at the Titans and Titans and Chargers game. Can't wait to see what you guys are doing this morning. Have a great one, guys, and we will see you guys on Tuesday.